at lunch? So like 3-4 times a week, or
Maybe
what?
once
About-
or twice every 2 weeks.
Okay.
Not until recently, though.
Okay.
They started warming up blood.
Great. You have a big band as well?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I'm glad you're doing the small group thing too. That's playing big band is great, but this is a whole different thing. So it's good to do both. What's that mouthpiece?
It's a Mouthpiece Cafe Espresso.
Oh, okay. I play saxophone. My name is Joe Manis. Yeah, let's see. Let's do the beginning of All Things You Are, since that's what we just did. Let's just try it, and then I'll make a comment. We'll see what happens.
After all this time playing.
So what recordings do we know of All the Things You Are?
Phil Woods.
Okay. There's a John Coltrane recording. There's Sonny Rollins live at the Village Vanguard. There's the Massey Hall recording, which is like Charlie Parker and Dizzy Gillespie and Bud Powell and all that. So do we all listen to a lot of jazz? Because that's great. Because it's I always think of listening as like free practicing. I drive a lot for teaching and for gigs, and obviously I can't practice my saxophone in the car, but I can listen to great classic recordings and learn from that. So I would encourage everybody to do as much listening as possible. So does everybody know the original Blue Train recording too?
Yeah.
Okay, great. And we can name everybody on it.
John Coltrane.
Okay, we got that. We got one. That's yeah. Everybody should know, because everybody on there is like a legend for their instrument, So we don't have a trumpet. Oh, we do. Sorry, Lee Morgan. We don't have a trombone. That's what I meant to say. Curtis Fuller, Kenny Drew, piano. Who's on bass? Paul Chambers. Yeah, he's like one of the most important bass players of all time. And then who's on drums?
I know it. I just don't.
Philly Joe. Another really important guy. So, anyway, go ahead and start All Things You Are. I want to hear that. Into the da-da-da, right?
Yeah.
So just because the drums are not playing, that doesn't mean that we are, the classic thing where people say, who's responsible for the time, in a clinic, and everybody goes, the drums, and then everybody says, no, we all are, and it's true. It's a cliche, but we all are responsible for it. I just did a 4-week tour in Europe, just me and a bass player, right? So there was a lot of responsibility on both of us, but it's a really fun setting when done well. So and it's always great to use different densities for your arrangements too. You have 6 people, right, or 7 people, sorry, but you don't have to have all 7 people play all the time, right? You can have solo, like you did have that for a second. On the first 2, you were just playing solo, and they would have the hits, right? You could have duos, you can have all the different trios, all the quartets, sextets, quintets, blah, 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 So it's great that you're doing arrangements that utilize those different densities. So let's do it one more time, and everybody just be really thinking about the pulse. Go ahead and count it. That was already way better to me. Did it feel different? Sound different?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so we need to be like that all the time. And at a certain point, after you practice enough and play with people enough and practice with a metronome, of course we all do that, I hope, right? It'll just become automatic. You just plug into the pulse, the groove, the tempo, whatever, and you just go, right? So yeah, I really liked that you guys did the trio thing. What made you do that?
Well, we originally played All the Things You Are for a different festival
Uh-huh.
with everyone.
Uh-huh.
And just we thought that for this tune, it's a bit too heavy with all those other instruments. So we
Yeah,
wanted to
you-
see how it sounded only in person.
Sure, yeah, you'd have to have a four-part arrangement, you know, maybe for a head tune like that, yeah. But you didn't have piano either, right?
Yeah.
That's a little unusual, but you didn't have a problem with the chords, right? You heard why you were informed. I didn't hear that. Who are some people that did that that you know of?
Can't name any off the
Okay.
top of my head.
Sonny Rollins, actually the same recording I just mentioned about it is the All the Things You Are. He plays it 1957 live at the Village Vanguard. He kind of pioneered that sound of a saxophone with bass and drums, and no piano and no guitar. And after him, basically every saxophonist has done it. You know, that's what my first album was just bass and drums. So that's like definitely like an established thing at this point. So I was excited to hear you know, it's nice just to have that open sound. Were you guys playing from memory on some of it? I mean,
On what?
overall, everything.
Yeah. From memory.
The whole thing?
Everything.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I wrote a comment about that. The next step would be play from memory, but couldn't tell because you still had stands up there. So, great.
We
Yeah,
had the chords for a long time.
okay, all right. So, yeah, that's great that you're playing from memory. It's just, it's scary at first, and it's hard at first, but the more you do it, you know, you get less scared, and you can learn faster, and then you can communicate. I was glad to see you guys were making eye contact. You know, bass and drum relationship is a very important one. You know, so that once you're don't have your head in the music, you can listen more and interact, which is what jazz is all, kind of about, is interaction, right? So, let's see. What the second tune you played? Oh, that was the blues.
Blue Train.
Let's play the second head and have the rhythm section, and then have the rhythm section come in. Okay?
The head for Blue Train?
Yeah. But the second time through.
Oh,
You guys
okay.
wanna like move in with each other?
Yeah.
This is stuff like chairs right here.
Go ahead and count it, whoever.
So, am I doing hits?
Is that what you did the second time? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we did it first time.
Yeah, I just want to hear it one time and then go into the solo.
Okay. 1, 2. 1, 2.
Actually, that's what I wanted to hear. When you did it the first time, it felt like it got a little bit squirrely for a second when you came in. And that's just kind of the same thing about what I was saying with the intro, is everybody has to be really just locked into that. Even when you're doing the count off, sometimes it can be this casual thing, kind of like count a tune off, and people are like still messing with their music, or hopefully not on their phone or whatever, you know? But we all need to be right there for that count off, so that somebody doesn't come in a little slower, a little faster. But that was great that time. But you know what I'm talking about? You felt that? It happens from time to time. But, yeah. Can I make some suggestions to you guys as saxophone players?
Yeah.
I play saxophone, and you're pretty tall. You can pull your neck strap up a little more, because it's hard, because you look at pictures of like all the greatest guys, like especially Joe Henderson. You look really like this, you know? And so you think that looks cool, or that's how the saxophone is supposed to be played. And I've been guilty of this myself too, but you know, as you get older, you know, and you play for years and years and hours a day, this is not a light instrument, right? You'll start to get problems in your neck, in your arms, your hands, you know, because it all refers down, you know. So I just, you know, I have to remind myself even like, okay, pull the next step up, you know? Especially if you're reading music and you're like going like this, you know, so yeah, just think about that. Same with you, Barry.
Yeah.
That's
Doesn't
a,
really go.
yeah, I know, you got one
high.
of those, one of those straps. Those are sometimes like, yeah, you bottom out on it, you can't go anymore.
Yeah.
But it's just something, and that's especially important with that instrument, because it's heavier.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I really like the groove on the Strasbourg tune. I liked how you were varying it, you know, open hi-hat, you know, go to the right cymbal, go to the other right cymbal, break it down. Let's hear the first solo for that. Who was the first soloist on that? Okay. Keep going. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Sounds great, like I said. At certain points, you were getting the backbeat where it was really getting like a sound, right? Because you're getting like the head and the snare. Is that a conscious decision to do that more when you're not doing the ghost notes? Or you were getting ghost notes in there too?
Yeah, I consciously did that.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure, because I was really excited to hear that, to actually hear, like, I prefer a backbeat sound more like that, as opposed to one, a lot of times like a jazz drummer, it'll just be like on the head, and just kind of sounds like tit, tit, so it doesn't sound very big, you know? But I'm glad you're aware of it. It's just something to think about, because it's hard to make that same sound every time. You know, sometimes you'll get just the head and you get the sound, and sometimes you'll just get the rim and then it's nothing, you know? It's just like a little click. So yeah, I mean, that'd be a great exercise to just sit, just put on some recordings, you know, some backbeat recordings, and just see if you can hit every single one of them with the same sound, you know? So, but it sounds great, I was glad to hear that. Let's hit that alto time alto stop time section again. We had a little bit of questionability time there, so. We should do like a little lead into it. I guess one chorus. Yeah, into it.
One, two, one,
That was way better, right? There was you had a little sometimes stopping in time is just as important as then starting in time. You had a little like kind of thing there for a second, but that was cool. So what did you do different? Or were you just thinking about it more? Or is it just a little later in the morning and now it's easier to do?
I was just thinking about it a little bit more.
Yeah, just always think about that. Even if it involves like, you know, you're like kind of grooving a little, moving around a little bit. Whatever it takes is to make, because I mean, to make it sound good, you know. I mean, don't be silly about it, like distracting, like taking attention away from the solo because you're like bobbing your head all crazy or anything like that. But you know, you see real guys play and they're physically involved in the music too, right? You know, so don't be self-conscious about that. Yeah, that's great. Do you guys have any questions, or do you have any thoughts on your performance? Yeah. All right.
A lively bunch.
No, I understand, it's early. Well, I think I'm supposed to get up there for the next group that starts right now at 8:50.
Okay, we're gonna hit big game.